You're watching ChillyBoy Productions. I'm Larry, ChillyBoy Chillson, and this is my review for Eternity. Now, before we get into this review, make sure to go ahead and click that subscribe button down below so that you can chill with me on each and every one of my latest videos. Eternity is a 2025 romantic dramedy directed by David Frine. In an afterlife where souls have exactly 1 week to decide where they will spend the rest of eternity, Joan is faced with an impossible choice between spending it with the man she spent her life with and her first love, who died young and has been waiting for her here ever since. The film stars Elizabeth Olsen, Miles Teller, Caleb Turner, and Davine Joy Randolph. So I watched Eternity here at the 2025 Toronto International Film Festival, and this was one of the more mainstream titles that I was really excited to see. I thought the trailers looked so fun and charming. This cast is great, and the premise sounded like a blast. So when this came up on the schedule for TIFF, I rushed to get myself a seat at the table. And thankfully, I did end up having a really good time with Eternity. So let's go ahead and talk about the positives first. Well, I'm going to start the positives off with this cast because everybody is great. Elizabeth Olsen is kind of the centerpiece of everything here, and she's absolutely wonderful. She is so fun and funny, really effervescent, but also stressed out. And she kills it in every aspect of this role. I loved her performance. Then we have Miles Teller, who is playing a Miles Teller kind of role, just a little bit grumpier, kind of like an old man. And he's great. He's also very charming, very funny, and you can see why Miss Joan fell in love. And then we have the wonderful, beautiful, dashing Callum Turner, who is also perfect for this role. He's very charming, extremely charismatic, and comes across really well for this part. And then we have Miss Scene Stealer herself, Davine Joy Randolph, who's great. She puts her comedic superpowers on full display in this one and had my theater and myself hollering consistently throughout this entire film. And then when she kind of pulls it back to give us those more heartfelt moments, it's all great. She's a wonderful actress, and I'm so glad to see her back in a film that properly utilizes her talents. Additionally, I love this concept. I really enjoyed the world building and how it wasn't so over the top fantasy for this afterlife. It was really mundane and real worldish, kind of ridiculous, played into the foolery of it all, played into the comedic tones of everything, and it allowed for some really funny gags. Some of these eternities that are being sold are hilarious. Some of the shenanigans with how people died was hilarious. Obviously, the competition between our two men, but also the competition between our two employees with John Early and Davine Joy Randolph was great. I laughed quite a bit throughout this film, so it hit the comedy part of a rom-com. It hit the drama in the dramedy aspect, and you can understand the plight here. You can understand Joan's feeling, and you can understand where she's coming from in this difficult decision. But ultimately, it all comes down to the fact that you can feel the romance. There's a great connection here. They establish themselves with two really quality men in this film. They're struggling to find faults in one another that feel believable or real, and it's super difficult. And I love that. I love that we don't just have one that's a scumbag. No, they're two great men, but it doesn't change the fact of what it is. And I think that was a really great way to take that. And obviously, it has you thinking about relationships, your life, kind of reflecting. So it's always nice to kind of chew on something as you leave the theater. So then, what doesn't work so well when it comes to Eternity? Well, I have to say, this is one of those films where I'm personally yelling at the theater screen in my head because the solution is so simple. They kind of bring it up, they touch on it for just a second, and then back away from it. Just be a throuple. I cannot tell you how many times, when pretty much whenever I see a love triangle, that love triangle being the big catalyst, the big conflict in a film or a TV series. Stop being so damn close-minded and be a throuple. And in this film particularly, they set it up that the throuple thing would work so well, and it sometimes gets so frustrating when the obvious answer right there. But even less extreme versions of doing what I just said, being a throuple, are there. And I won't say much more, but as the film progresses, you feel yourself kind of really pulling to a throuple style situation in living, at least. I also think the mechanics of this are totally bonkers. So I said I loved how practical and like down to earth the look was of this afterworld, but any sort of thought put into the afterworld, it is complete madness and foolery. Like, what is this? Afterworld, not afterworld, kind of afterworld, going to eternities and red doors. We've gone into the world of Loki and the TVA. It's a lot, and most all of it is just ooba jooba looba nonsense. So don't look too hard into the actual mechanics and ideology. I also don't know if I loved the ending. Yeah. And obviously, there's a scenario here that you're yelling at the screen because you know how it's going to turn out if that's how this all goes down. So you're kind of feeling like, what are we doing if you go this route, girl? I just kind of wish we had went a daring way with the end. It felt very Hollywoodized and, you know, safe in many, many regards. And with so many possibilities on the table with this concept, I wish we would have pushed the envelope a little bit more. But overall, I had a lot of fun with Eternity. It's not schmaltzy. It doesn't get too sentimental and sappy. It has a nice dose of cynicism throughout. It has that sarcastic humor I love, but it also is very heartfelt and sincere. It takes this love triangle seriously and takes this woman's life seriously. And possibly, most importantly of all, it's quite funny and kept me entertained from start to finish, fully invested in the story and laughing throughout. So, if you watch the trailer for Eternity and think, that sounds fun, it is, and it's going to give you exactly what you want from it. So, I definitely say give Eternity a shot when it releases this November 2025 to a theater near you. And come to think of it, I think a movie theater may just be my personal eternity. So that was my review for Eternity. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead, click that like button down below and subscribe to the channel so that you are always up to date on all of my latest videos, including all of my content from TIFF 2025. Also, make sure to join in on the discussion. Are you excited to see Eternity? Let me know all of your thoughts either in that comment section down below, or you can hit me up on Twitter and Blue Sky. I love you all so much for your continued support. Mwah. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.